Welcome, class of 2021 graduates, families, and friends, to the 98th commencement ceremony of the University of Connecticut School of Law. I am Dean Ebony S. Nelson, and I'm so very glad to have you with us on this very important day. As we begin today's ceremony, I ask you all to please rise for the singing of the national anthem by Lauren Gail Moscato of the class of 2021.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Ms. Moscato. On behalf of UConn Law students, staff, faculty, and alumni, congratulations, class of 2021. Today is a momentous occasion as we celebrate the completion of your law degree program. Graduates, it is a day for celebration not only for you, but also your parents, siblings, family members, spouses, partners, and friends. Please join me in thanking and applauding them for the support and encouragement they have provided to help you arrive at this moment. Please join me in also thanking and applauding our dedicated faculty and staff who have educated, guided, assisted, and encouraged you throughout your law school career. We are all greatly appreciative of their investment in you, your success, and the success of the law school. Thank you, faculty and staff. Although regretfully, I have not had the opportunity to meet most of you in person, I stand here in awe of each of you as I think about the perseverance you have demonstrated and all that you have accomplished during your law school career, especially over the past 14 months. You have encountered many obstacles while on your journey to achieve your degree. Perhaps it was self-doubt, as little seemed to click during your first semester or first year. Or maybe it was a hearing that didn't go your client's way. For some, it may have been the culture shock of studying law in a new country or in a new language or in a new mode of instruction, or all of the above, all at the same time. Despite the obstacles, you overcame them all and accomplished great things along the way. Since entering UConn Law, your class has positively impacted countless members of our community, both inside and outside our institution. You have served as admissions ambassadors to help encourage prospective students to attend our great law school. You have helped asylum seekers avoid a life of persecution, abuse, and torture. You have advocated for the protection of children, veterans, animals, and the environment. You have edited and published journal articles that have informed our thinking on some of the most pressing legal issues of the day, such as COVID-19 business interruption insurance losses. You have honed your advocacy and dispute resolution skills while raising the law school's profile by your outstanding performance on moot court, mock trial, and negotiation teams. You have organized conferences, symposia, and programs exploring issues including originalism and the 14th Amendment, separation of powers and the role of the courts, and implicit bias in jury selection. You have organized and participated in rallies and protests condemning hate and violence against communities of color. You have spent hundreds of hours mentoring and inspiring local youth and volunteering with community organizations. You have raised thousands of dollars to support student organizations and public interest fellowships. And your leadership in student organizations have helped to raise our consciousness about the importance of diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging here at UConn Law and beyond. These accomplishments and acts of service demonstrate your commitment to being part of a profession that at its core is about serving others in the pursuit of justice. As our country grapples with the dual pandemics of COVID-19 and systemic racism, the legal profession needs you now more than ever. With the assistance of faculty, staff, mentors, friends, and classmates, you have obtained a wealth of knowledge and have developed a particular set of research, analytical, and communication skills during your time in law school. These skills and knowledge have equipped you to be advocates for justice as you embark on and further your legal careers. You will help solve the most difficult and complex problems of our time. You will be the voice for those whose voices have been silenced, ignored, or discounted. As you do, you will advance the fulfillment of our country's promise that everyone is afforded equal protection of the laws. You will advise and lead businesses that strengthen our connections as global citizens. If we have learned nothing else over the past year, we have learned how interconnected we are to people and countries throughout the world. As you all work to preserve the rule of law, both within and outside our borders, I ask that you remember that the law can be both a helpmate and a hindrance in that endeavor. It can be both a tool to advance justice and a tool to thwart it, a tool to dismantle systemic oppression, and a tool to maintain it. So I ask that you use this invaluable tool wisely. The expectations we have for each of you are quite high, and you may be wondering, am I ready? Rest assured that the answer to that question is a resounding yes. You are ready and you will succeed. This is what you have been trained to do, and in many ways, this is what you have already been doing during your time in law school. Be confident in the knowledge and abilities you have developed during your law school career, and carry that confidence with you into courtrooms as advocates and judges, into the worlds of business and government as counselors and policymakers, and to the forefront of the endless and endlessly rewarding struggle for a more just and equitable world. Thank you for choosing UConn Law to pursue your legal studies. It has been an honor to have each of you as part of our law school community, and I cannot thank you enough for all the ways that you have enriched it. I also thank you for the patience and understanding you have shown towards me, your professors, your colleagues, and most importantly, yourselves, especially during this last year. It is evident that you care very deeply about your law school, and I hope that continues as you transition from being students to being alumni. Please stay involved and help support other students as they pursue their law degrees, just as others have helped you pursue yours. Now and forever, UConn Law is and will be your law school, and all of us are incredibly proud of you and your accomplishments. Congratulations, class of 2021. We look forward to seeing the great contributions you will make in the days and years ahead. Thank you. Next, we will hear from the graduates chosen by their classmates to speak to us today. They are Mohammed Ikram Aksoy, representing the Master of Laws graduates, Chelsea Caitlin McCollum, representing the Juris Doctor graduates in the evening division, and Mallory Deanna Thompson and Demery Joelle Ormrod, speaking together to represent the Juris Doctor graduates in the day division.
Before I start, I would like to thank all healthcare workers around the world who have been working hard to save lives since the beginning of the worst health crisis that our century is facing. Dear Dean, professors, classmates, alumni, and guests, it is an honor to be here with you on this exciting day. So today is the day. We worked hard for years to reach this moment. As one of my professors once said on the first day of law school, and I quote, "You all decided to study law and you accepted to get yourself into a big trouble." So the professor was right. It is hard, challenging, sometimes frustrating, especially as an LLM student. Keeping up with weekly assignments and readings while adopting a different educational concept was not easy. But as we continued to study further, which raised off the concerns from our minds, we realized that the law school is not solely about either learning the substantial topics of law, nor a key to become lawyers, judges, or prosecutors, or specialize in a specific field of law, but also learning the philosophy of law, principles of life, and how to be a responsible individual. Just as my classmates, I had high expectations before coming to UConn. I was excited to learn not only about a whole different legal system, but also the practical academic education that could help me gain experience in terms of implementing the knowledge I gain. Also, make comparative studies between civil law and common law. As you know, LLM is known as specializing in an area of law, which kind of creates the sense that we, the foreign students, only focus on a specific subject of law. However, as subjects of law come closer to each other, making the legal education more complex and expanding the duties and responsibilities of lawyers, we realize that our studies on a subject of law are not only limited to our programs. Therefore, we had the opportunity of learning the other related subjects of law and how they harmonize in general. The most beneficial part of this type of educational method was that it moved us away from rote learning to constructivism. Also, it expanded our vision in a direction where we gained the ability to evaluate the legal issues in a wider perspective. As the legal rules evolve, tradition of law updates itself, and understanding of democracy keeps expanding in a free world, it is reasonable to expect lawyers to come up with contemporary arguments. Therefore, it was important for us to adopt such a legal understanding. Furthermore, we experienced how a country as the United States, which has rich and historic tradition of rule of law, treats the legal education with honor by valuing impartiality. Because as the foreign students, we had the opportunity of addressing, criticizing the political issues that closely related with legal rules and were able to express our opinions during the classes. I also would like to say a few words about how the faculty members handled the remote learning process perfectly. Some of us were not here in Hartford over the past year. Some of us were not familiar with the remote learning either, but due to the pandemic circumstances, we had to get used to it and focus on our work immediately. As the LLM students, we almost had no difficulties during this process except the time zone difference. With the help of our faculty members, we managed to obtain a degree while residing in different continents. Obviously, it was not just about receiving formal education. We have a very multicultural community here in Hartford. We have classmates from Latin America, Europe, Asia, and Middle East. We had the chance to exchange our opinions, our cultural experiences, and gain friendships. Thankfully, with the help of our experienced professors, welcoming community of Hartford, UConn Law provided us all the opportunities. From now on, we will start a new path in our lives. Some of us will take the bar exam in the upcoming months, and some of us are already working, and some of us will go back to their countries. I wish everybody a productive career in their adventurous journey. Lastly, I would like to say that by graduating law school, I think for now, we all just proved that we could give up on our personal time and invest in our goals instead. But we should bear in mind that it is just about the start. Thank you, UConn Law. It has been a remarkable 2 years with you. Congratulations, class of 2020 and 21. Thank you.
Dean Nelson, faculty members, fellow students, family, and friends. It is an immense honor to be speaking to you today on behalf of the evening division of the class of 2021. I am sad to not be able to see everyone looking back at me as I deliver this address, but I know the faces of those watching this commencement video are full of pride, joy, and until we go back to studying for the bar, maybe even a little relief. People warn you to be wary of the law school environment, that it is competitive and unsupportive, but this could not be further from what I experienced here at UConn Law. There was never a time when our professors were unwilling to go above and beyond and to work with our complex schedules. I mean, Where else could you find a professor to sit in his office with you late on a Friday night, listening to Christmas music and trying to drill future interests into your brain? Sorry, Professor Kogan, I'm still not sure if I have those down. There was never a time when I thought my fellow students and I weren't in this together. To my fellow graduates, each and every one of you should be immensely proud of yourselves. Being a law student is no small feat, and being an evening student requires an extra level of resilience that I don't think any of us could have adequately prepared for. As we were balancing classwork and work with preparing for competitions like moot court and negotiation and taking care of our families, all of us have expanded our definition of the word busy. But we did it. From 1L Thursday nights in Civ Pro with our champion, Professor Maley, to 3L Thursday nights at the Spigot with our other champion, Johnny the bartender, we absolutely made the most of our time here. So carry that resilience with you as you begin your careers. Always have faith in yourself and never ever forget that you are capable of endless things. You survived the long nights, the major assignments and exams that inevitably lined up with those major deadlines at work, and the shift to working and learning from home. You can handle anything this world throws at you, and I can't wait to see what you all accomplish. It has been an honor to learn from and alongside you these past 4 years, and I hope to work alongside you for years to come. I would be remiss not to thank the people who made this journey possible for me. To my friends and family who have supported me through the highs and lows, especially to my mother, who has flooded me with love and support for my entire life, and without whom I would be lost. To my coworkers, who are always there to help me when the balance between working and learning stretched me just a little too thin. To the professors who challenged us every day and provided us with endless support and guidance. And most of all, to my fellow students. I would never have survived these last 4 years without you, and I feel so fortunate to be a part of this community. So to all the graduates today, with an extra special nod to my fellow evening students, congratulations.
Dean Nelson, faculty, staff, alumni, family, and friends of the graduating class of 2021, Demery and I are honored to be delivering this speech on behalf of the Day Division.
In preparing for this speech and thinking about how to describe the Day Division class of 2021, I went to the person who I often turn to for the most candid advice, my 7-year-old niece, Kennedy. One night when putting her to bed, I asked for her thoughts on what Mallory and I might say to you all. Ironically, it was the tapestry above her head that spawned the inspiration for this speech. It reads, "Beautiful girl, you can do hard things."
When Demery told me this story, we realized this was the perfect description of the graduating class. We're the class that can do hard things.
When entering into law school, none of us could have anticipated the challenges we have experienced this past year and a half. Perhaps before beginning at UConn Law, we heard about the academic difficulties that law school would carry, but nothing could have prepared us for the COVID-19 pandemic. We are the class that midway through our 2L year transitioned to online learning and has remained online through our final days. We are the class that took on law school during a pandemic, a time of hardship, confusion, loss, and tragedy.
We're the class that started our last year of law school marching in the streets, protesting state violence and demanding legal, political, and social recognition that Black Lives Matter. Some of us having to come to class knowing there may be no one there that understood or even acknowledged the collective trauma we were holding.
And we did all of this on top of the rigors of law school, the demands of classes, studying, jobs, families, and of course, maintaining our own mental health.
Despite these challenges, our classes still managed to exceed expectations, to do hard things.
The class of 2021 has shifted to the online environment almost seamlessly. We have become experts in all things WebEx, Zoom, and Husky CT. And many of us have stepped up as teaching assistants to help ensure that the classes that we loved so much in person were just as manageable online for our peers.
Our competition teams have all managed to participate in a variety of online tournaments and have all proven to be quite the force in online advocacy. UConn teams have placed at the regional and national levels.
Our organizations have managed to host incredibly successful online events, transitioning typically in-person events like symposia and panel discussions to online platforms, all whilst maintaining the integrity of these various events and keeping listeners actively engaged.
The online job search was also no easy feat. In addition to the typical concerns, we also had to panic about whether our Wi-Fi was strong enough, whether the world around us would be quiet for 1 whole hour. I even resorted to a sign on my apartment door that read, "Please do not knock," in the most important interview of my life. But we rose to the occasion. And after today, members of the class of 2021 are going on to be public defenders, federal and state court clerks, government relations specialists, and so much more.
Class of 2021, these past 3 years, and particularly this past year and a half, have proven that we are the class that can do hard things. But we submit to you this: we too are the class that must do hard things. It is not just our hope, but our promise that we will leave this profession, and more importantly, this world, better than we found it. That requires us as law school graduates and future attorneys to put our words and hopes into action, to do the work, to do the hard things.
And because our legal system is not only complicit in the injustices this nation was built upon, but often was the very source of those injustices, we must be the generation to collectively decide that mere legal reform is not enough, and to use the work of those that came before us to require more from our society, and equally as important, to require more from ourselves. And that's regardless of our chosen field. We must all do better today than we did yesterday, and be better tomorrow than we are right now. If we commit to being better people, we will be the type of lawyer this world needs. And we will be the ones to catalyze change, because we are the class that can do hard things.
Finally, thank you to my parents, my family, my boyfriend Matt, and my friends for your endless and unyielding support throughout law school. Most especially, thank you to my mom, my person, my why.
Thank you to everyone who provided our class with unyielding love and support. For me, that was my friends, especially you, Sierra, and my family. My sisters, my nephew, my parents, mom, everything I am is because of you. So again, thank you.
And congratulations to the class of 2021.
Thank you, Mr. Oxoy, Ms. McCollum, Ms. Ormrod, and Ms. Thompson. I now have the privilege of introducing our commencement speaker, the Honorable Alexandra D. DiPentina of the class of 1979, a senior judge of the Connecticut Appellate Court who presided for 10 years as its chief judge. Judge DiPentina has served the cause of justice with distinction over her entire career as a staff attorney for Connecticut Legal Services, in private practice, and as a judge. She was appointed to the Connecticut Superior Court bench in 1993 and to the Connecticut Appellate Court in 2003. She served as chief judge of the Appellate Court from 2010 to 2020 when she took senior status. We are proud of and grateful for her long association with UConn School of Law as an alumna, an adjunct professor, and an active supporter. One of the innumerable awards she has accumulated in her service to the law and the legal profession is the richly deserved Distinguished Service Award from the University of Connecticut School of Law Alumni Association. And so it is with great pleasure that I present Judge DiPentina to you today.
Thank you, Dean Nelson, for the invitation to speak. I am very honored to address the class of 2021 on the occasion of its graduation from my alma mater and on the occasion of Professor Ebony Nelson's first year as Dean of the University of Connecticut School of Law. And what a year it has been. Before I speak of that elephant in the room, may I also take this opportunity to applaud the accomplishments of the remarkable law school faculty, full-time and adjunct, for their scholarship, classroom teaching, and clinical work for teaching their students not what to think, but how to think. One of the consequences of the school's continued excellence, and perhaps my closest link to the school recently, is that the appellate court has hired many graduates of UConn who have served with consistent skill and dedication as our term clerks since the court's inception in 1984. And I dare say there is a group in this class ready to start next month, continuing that tradition. Philip Blumberg was dean when I attended the law school, and his passing this year brought back some wonderful memories of his sartorial elegance, i.e. his bow ties, his intellectual tenacity, and as Dean Nelson recently and so eloquently said, his visionary commitment to the school. His vision has grown and become real through the work of his dedicated successors, George Shatsky, Hugh McGill, Nell Jessup Newton, Jeremy Paul, Tim Fisher, and now Ebony Nelson. What a year this has been. You left campus in March 2020, and most of you did not return for this final semester of classes. I can imagine the loss you have felt. Missing chance encounters, classrooms where you could feel the excitement or occasional shared bewilderment of your fellow classmates, and just walking around the lovely law school campus. We all went through Netflix, Prime, YouTube, thank goodness for John Krasinski in the early days, instead of gathering with friends and family, dining out, attending concerts, sporting events, traveling. Technology kept us informed and entertained, and yet made us realize that it cannot replace the spontaneity and resulting joy of human interaction. And some of us found that working from home made it harder to ever stop working. What did we learn during this past difficult year? And why should you be grateful for graduating now? We learned that our justice system, statewide and nationally, needs attention, that our glorious profession of lawyering is being transformed in significant ways by technology, for instance, and that all of us need to listen, and not only to those with whom we agree, to open our minds and to use our lawyer minds to better our state and our country by restoring confidence in our system of justice. Consider, for example, the efforts Chief Justice Richard Robinson undertook during this pandemic-riven year to eliminate racial bias in our jury selection process. And thanks to the internet, I observed how our own UConn Law School, as it heads into its centennial year, continued the vibrant intellectual and legal scholarship with forums, moot courts, and other virtual campus-wide events, despite the constraints imposed by the pandemic. And why should you be grateful for graduating now? As I mentioned, our legal profession is transforming, in some measure due to the events of 2020, but changes were already underway. We now face, or most law firms face, national and even global competition. Alternatives to conventional dispute resolutions and alternative providers of legal services are here. Legal technology is a must in all courtrooms. and the impact diversity and generational changes are having on legal careers, to name just a few. What an exciting and challenging time to be entering our profession. That is to say, the conventions and traditions that constrained a new law graduate in the past are being recast. As you enter our transforming profession, I urge you to consider committing yourself to public service, even if you do not become a full-time public servant. Find the time to be informed and to inform others accurately about the judicial system. Use your skills to ensure access to justice for all. The opportunities our profession now offers are myriad and still developing. Some might complain that I'm not speaking to you in person, but virtually. I assure you, I have really said these words to you. They are no less real than if I were standing before you, rather than sitting in front of a screen with a camera. Yes, I wish I could see your faces and shake your hands, watch families and friends surround you in pride and celebration. Beyond that beautiful law school campus. But my message to you today would be the same. Take the lessons you've learned over the past 3 years, the resilience you've acquired, the disappointments and the successes you've experienced, the critical thinking you've mastered, and use them in the coming years to preserve and strengthen our democracy. I wish the class of 2021 not so much good luck as the ability, which this year has certainly taught you, to use difficult challenges as opportunities for new ideas, paths, and actions towards a better world. You're more than up to the challenge. May you all have, time now to celebrate with those who helped make your law degree a reality. And my best wishes for many promising opportunities and happy achievements. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge DiPentina. Carrie Anna Field, Director of Graduate and Exchange Programs, will now read the names of graduates who have earned a Doctor of the Science of Laws or Master of Laws degree, and then Assistant Dean Jennifer Cerny will read the names of graduates who have earned a Juris Doctor degree.
Lalita Annapurna Shivaswamy. Pe Songchin. Hyun Chan Han. Kim Hwan Chu. Kim Hyun Nam. Lee Hyung Jong. Sunguk Moon. Oh Seung Hwan. Ryu Jung Min. Sun Bo Kyung. Jean Flavien Pham et Son. Maximilian Hamert Halswig. Stephen Emilio Aguayo. Corey J. Brinson. Ewan Gulzun. Johanna Leutnant. Antonia Mai. Iftikhar Mehdi. Ramandar Singh Perma. Frederica Helena Rademacher. Cheryl Denise White Mink. Jessica Marianne Sacanino. Salome Chea Payama. Michael Frank Darwish. Wendy Marie Estela. Tiffany Ann Figueredo. Shirley Joy Foster. Chaba Gabor. Christian Jonathan Nawachukwu. Michka Basman Ortiz. Ping Shi. Eleanor Umaya. Jia Jingyi. Mohammed Iakrem Aksoy. Anduela Allah. Alina Zara Berens. Cornelia Louisa Beaversdorf. Cameron Michael Brown. Svenja Miriam Detmer. John Joseph Dowd. Ivan E. Yun Ho. Felix Mika Hoffmann. Ruben Daniel Knapp. Lu Ming. Kiara Santos Ferreira Passos. Chin Yu. Madhuri Prakash Shinde. Helena Elizabeth Verpirk. Jie Zhang. Benjamin Joel Siv.
Stephen Emilio Aguayo. Nico Keith Ames. Donald James Anderson III. Corey L. Arsenal. Dev Prakash Awasti. Caitlin Marie Barrett. Kyle Adams Bechet. Jonathan Michael Badowski. Evan Scott Bell. Justin Telemack Bell. Zachary Tyler Bellis. Tennyson Ford Benedict. Maxwell Lee Bertoletti. Miranda Joy Bilodeau. Jeffrey Allen Bone. Sophia Jeanette Bassar. James Russell Brakebill. Robert Bruce Anthony Brownell. Jennifer Rose Buckler. Kelly Rose Buttricks. Nicole Lenore Byrne. Donald Cabral. Kathleen Elizabeth Kaysen. Rachel Margaret Cantonese, Jillian Robin Chambers, Teresa Jinwen Chen, Emma Michelle Cotnor, Emily Meng Covey, Jeffrey Stephen Curtin, Garrett Arthur D'Amato, Raul A. Darwar, Shelby Lynn DeTillo, William Victor Deegan, Megan Hannah DeFrank, Haley Doré Del Vecchio, Zachary James De Palma, Shelby Marie Downs, James Edward Driscoll, Shuya Duan, Tyler William Dueño, Thomas Gregory DuPont, Joe Espinal, Natasha Rose Esponda, Ryan Rayshawn Alexander Eugene, Maxine Elizabeth Besant, Amanda C. Farish, Ian Charles Marcel Fignon, Nathan Alexander Fox, Benjamin S. Frescarelli, Danielle Lorraine Schmaltz Fulham, Daisy Anna Garrett, Christopher James Gelino, Caitlin Michelle Gould, Lauren Teresa Graham, Duncan Finley Grimm, Thomas Joseph Hart, Haley Alexis Hinton, Sarah Nicole Hollis, Juliana Marie Holdcroft, Venetia Hurtubise, Justin Michael Highland, Eric Edward Angelis, Timothy Mason Jablonski, Matthew Zane Johnson, Unit Josen, Beth M. Cayley, Patrick Francis Henry Kanya, William John Kehoe, Sean Edward Kelly, Thomas John Kennedy III, Melissa Elizabeth King, Anna Lee Kogan, Matthew Kono, Molly Ladner, Jeffrey Rice Laflamme, Lucas Elisha Lalonde, Albert Lee, Paula Daniela Laiva, Charles O'Brien Lichtenauer, Bianca Lucia Lugiarto, Shannon Quinn Lozier, Caitlin Elizabeth McKinnon, Paul Thomas Mandel, Chelsea Caitlin McCullum, Megan Messina, Christian Andrew Mines, Lauren Gail Moscato, Jane Whitcomb Motter, Joshua Murphy, Shannon Lee Nolan, Michael Nunez, Kevin Francis O'Neill, Demery Joelle Ormrod, Samantha Ostreicher, Denise Marie Parlberg, Caitlin N. Piowski, Sean Michael Pilares, Michael Eric Prito, Stephen Noah Reck, Jadilza Miosotos Reyes, Michael Aaron Rice, William Joseph Reardon, Nestor Rodriguez Smith, Veronica Elizabeth Rollins, Amy Marie Saji, Dorianne Alicia Salmon, Sierra Selena Santana, Connor Augustus Scalise, Michael Christopher Schultz, Emily Scott, Anthony Michael Skrika, Samuel Jacob Shapiro, Carly Lauren Sirota, Margaret Elizabeth Smith, Kyle Smith, Robert W. Sommers, Sydney Chloe Sousa, Selena Elizabeth Stoya, Mallory Megan Stone, Lauren Alyssa Straight, Jonah Ward Strassler, Amanda Francis Studley, Jonathan Belmont Sipes, Mallory Deanna Thompson, Aishwarya Toted, Srikant Babo Tumala, Taylor Alexander Bond, Melitza Joanna Belsilakis, David Augustus Villa, Jacob Aaron Viner, Simon Aaron Weissman, Wendy Kai Wang, Joseph Chagnon Williams, Kimberly Lynn Wilson, Kimberly Ann Winter, Ching Wei Wong, Yuquan Brian Yoon, Daniel Joseph Zahab, Jason Lin Zhang.
Thank you, Dean Cerny and Ms. Field. It is my pleasure to introduce Tara Trefon, President of the University of Connecticut Law School Alumni Association.
Graduates of the class of 2021, congratulations. I have the honor of being the first person to welcome you to the UConn Law Alumni Association. I personally graduated on May 17th, 2009. Frankly, I don't remember a lot about the ceremony or the speeches, which is saying something since I was the evening division speaker that day. I don't remember how exhausted I felt, although I'm sure I was ready for a long break with no casebooks or study guides allowed. But what I do remember is being eager to toast the end of my law school career with my family and a large glass of champagne, maybe two. And so I don't want to keep you all from your own celebrations, and I'll try to keep this short. Since we've already established that I don't remember what happened 12 years ago, I pulled out my own speech to refresh my recollection of how I felt during my graduation ceremony and to give me some ideas for today. What stuck out at me most was a quote by Daniel White, and to summarize, it says, "The law schools have been described as a place for the accumulation of learning. First-year students bring some in, last-year students take none away, hence it accumulates." I found that quote particularly funny at the time, although my mom did not, and as an aside, she still doesn't. But the quote isn't exactly accurate, right? I may not remember all of the legal principles I learned during my 3 years, but I certainly remember some. I recall learning about Rule 12b-6 from Professor Lahav, and I can at least remember part of the International Shoe case caption. I wasn't able to recite the details of the Commerce Clause that I learned from Professor Becker, and I still can't. But I smile whenever I see the name Erwin Chemerinsky, and I certainly remember turning to his study guide to help me decipher constitutional law. The most important things I learned in law school, though, were from my colleagues, and those lessons have stayed with me well past the end of my last year in law school. For instance, I learned that we can analyze the same situation, but find ways to show that they are completely and totally different. That I could always count on my classmates to explain something as confusing as the rule against perpetuities. And that practicing law would be fun and interesting since I'd be surrounded by my fellow UConn Law grads. All of this remains true today. Following this ceremony, you will be a part of the Law School Alumni Association. I urge you to stay involved with this group because it is truly a special community. Our members go out of their way to support, encourage, and congratulate each other. We are committed to the advancement of the school and our profession, and we are constantly looking for new ways to help our UConn Law grads. So come to our events. Reinforce the bonds with your current classmates and create new connections. Tell the Alumni Association when you have something to celebrate, like a new job. Reach out to us when you need help, whether for connections, referrals, or advice. And most importantly, consider giving back in any way that you can, such as helping students navigate their way into the professional world through mentorship and sponsorship. I promised to keep this brief, so I'll end with this. Congratulations for all that you have accomplished over the past few years. We know how hard you have worked and how difficult this process has been, made even more so because of the COVID-19 pandemic. But, as Elle Woods would have said if she were here, and if she were a real person, you did it! Welcome to the Law School Alumni Association. The board and I cannot wait to see you at our next event. Congrats.
Thank you, Ms. Trefon. As the ceremony draws to a close, I would be remiss if I did not thank the events, communications, and IT departments for their assistance in coordinating today's ceremony, which was no small feat. I want to congratulate our graduates once again on their tremendous accomplishments in this most challenging of times. As you move forward to take your place in the legal community, I trust you will remember not only the adversity that you faced, but the perseverance, courage, and communal spirit with which you overcame it. You are strong, and this experience has only made you stronger. You will draw on that strength along with the knowledge and the skills that law school has given you throughout your lives. And throughout your lives, the University of Connecticut School of Law and your fellow graduates will be there to support you. Congratulations, class of 2021.
Thank you, thank you, thank you to my husband John, my parents Greg and Christine, my sister Samantha, Nanny, Papa, Grandma, and Grandpa. Thank you also to the Fulham side of my family, all of my friends, and to my professors, especially John Bauer and Valeria Gomez. I have felt so supported throughout law school, and I am truly grateful.
It gives me great joy to represent Malawi today at the UConn School of Law. My sincere gratitude to the Fulbright program for this wonderful opportunity to pursue my LLM insurance program at the UConn Law. To my dear parents, my siblings, my dear husband Andrew, and our little girl Arabella, I say thank you for your support. I love you.
I'd like to thank my whole family for being such a wonderful source of support over the last few years. My fiance, my mom, my sisters, my brother-in-law, my nephew, and my soon-to-be in-laws. I could not have done it without all of your love, support, and endless patience. I'm so grateful to have all of you. Thank you.
First, I'd like to thank my parents and my grandparents because your unwavering support and encouragement in so many aspects of my life is what has gotten me here today. I'd also like to thank my brother and my sister for always keeping me laughing. I'd like to thank my incredible friends for their endless patience and love. And a huge thank you to my fiance Drew and our puppy Ford. You are my rock and my world. Thank you. I love you all.
Hello, I'm Max. I am completing the LLM in Environmental and Energy Law. I really enjoyed the courses. I learned a lot, and so I want to thank my professors, McDougall, Mayland, Parker, and Pace. It was a great honor to attend UConn Law. And for the time in Hartford, I really want to, or especially want to thank my fellow student, Akram Muhammad, who helped me a lot. Thanks.
Thank you to my family, Acha, Amachi, Amma, Chechi, Minu, and Kijan, and Lillian, and Lissa. Thank you all for supporting me and believing in me these past 3 years. Thank you to my friends who have kept me laughing all the way from stores to the law school. Thank you to my professors and my mentors who have really guided my way. And thank you to the accelerated program in law. I'm so honored and privileged to be the first woman of color to graduate from the program, and I hope not to be the last. So I hope to make you all proud with my future career.
Hello, this is Friederike, completing the LLM program Human Rights and Social Justice, and I want to thank the great LLM coordinators Carrie Field, Leslie Lawrence, and Yan Hong. We felt warmly welcomed. Also thanks to the great professors, Professor Rubin and Professor McLean, and also thank you Professor Schmeiser, Professor Janice, and Professor Thomas. Great, very inspiring courses, and last but not least, I want to thank my family. Thank you a lot, Mom and Dad.
I'd like to thank the Law School Library for your support of our entire class, especially me when I worked there as a student worker. To my law school roommate Demery, your dedication and compassion really inspires me. To my boyfriend Lucas for your unyielding optimism and support, really got us through this last year. And most notably to my parents for your encouragement and love in everything I do. I love you, thank you.
I'd like to thank my friends, Ching, Hannah, Denise, Kelly, for sharing the highs and the lows with me. I'd like to thank my great professors, in particular Professor Brennan Marquez, Professor Simon Kerr, and Professor Will for being great teachers and incredible mentors. I'd like to thank my support system, Connor, my family, Mom and Dad. I could not have done this without you. There are so many people who have made this possible, and I am so grateful. Thank you.
Hi everybody, we wanted to say thank you to our friends and family in the Pacific Northwest who supported us throughout the last 3 years, and to our UConn Law community, especially those who supported us through all of the snow days and sick days.
Thank you Tim, Mallory, and Jess. Good job for graduating.
Congratulations.
I want to say thank you to my mom and my dad, as well as my sister Lydia, for always pushing me, always encouraging me, and really helping me to be a better person. To Lauren, I love you. Thank you so much for always keeping me as unstressed as you could and for always pushing and supporting me as well. To your parents, Mr. and Mrs. Lopes, thank you guys for the encouragement as well as literally housing me at one point. And to all my family and friends who I can't mention here, thank you guys for the support and for just the love you guys have shown me.